I'm Mark Sanger, and in this video I'm going to go through how I use the Crown Revolution hollowing tool on some unseasoned end grain ash. It's quite wet, probably about 25-30% moisture content, but all the free moisture's gone, so there's nothing spraying out of it as I'm turning. I've turned a nice deep bowl. It's about 220 diameter by 150 deep, and the grain's running around basically like a tight roll of paper. Okay, so I want to talk about how I use the super ring and how I set the tool up, and then some close-ups of using it and presenting to do different cuts, like a peeling cut and a push pull cut. Okay, so I'm going to set the camera up so you can get a good look, and then I'll start discussing the tool and how I use it. Okay, so the super ring is the business end of the tool. Now, the super ring is basically a ring tool with a brass limiter here, and which also, with this short radius, acts as a chip breaker, so you do not get the long streamers, which are very nice to watch, but are not very good when we're trying to remove a whole bunch of them from a hollow form through a small hole. So with this we get smaller chips, but we still get the slicing action in the finish that we do with the ring tool. But ease of removing the shavings, and what I do is I have an attachment on my hoover, which is a smaller pipe, and I just go in hoover out to remove them. So to alter this and to set up the cut, now as you can see here, I've got a cut all the way from about 2 o'clock right the way around here to 9 o'clock. I set mine to the most aggressive cut because I can alter how much I'm removing by simply rotating the tool anti-clockwise. The more anti-clockwise, the less aggressive the cut, and the finer the slicing action I have on the front. The more horizontal the tool, the more aggressive the cut. So I don't need to keep altering it. I can just alter my presentation of the cutting edge to the wood to alter the cut that I want. But if I do want to alter it, I just undo this Allen screw, and the most aggressive cut is with the notch pointing towards where you want the major cut, and then just tighten it up and the tool set up. Now, to sharpen the super ring, don't ever put it on a grinding wheel because it will disappear in no time at all. So it's a simple diamond hone. It doesn't have to be this shape, it can be any diamond hone, medium or fine. We just touch it on the edge so that it's flat. Don't roll this way, so it's flat, and then I just maintain the edge by rubbing it around. And the trick is to sharpen little in often, and that's all that's needed to maintain that edge. Okay, nice sharp edge. So what I'm going to do now is set the tool up, show you how I present it to the wood, and we'll look at the peeling cut and basically a push-pull cut. So I set the tool rest up so that the tool edge is going to be cutting on centre height. The handle trails upwards slightly and is locked underneath between my elbow and my sort of hip chest area, but I want it slightly raised. I've cranked over the cutter slightly, which enables me to present the 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock area of the tool. Now, when I present the tool to the edge, if I go in horizontal, I'm going to have an aggressive cut. So I just rotate it over slightly, anti-clockwise, and I can either use the overhand technique by placing my palm on the back of the tool rest, locking over the top and producing a fulcrum at this point and peeling outwards. Or I can use the underhand technique where my finger is on the back of the tool rest and my thumb over the top, and I can push in and out with the tool. It gives me a more sensitive touch, and we shouldn't need to hold on the tool or any tool for grim death when we're hollowing. Okay, if it's all set up. Obviously, if we're hollowing down to 11 inches and the piece is seasoned, is slightly out of round, then we're going to get some bouncing and may need to use the overhand technique. But we shouldn't need to hold any hollowing tool if it's set up correctly with a great amount of strength. The cut should come along the shaft, down into the tool rest, down into the banjo, and down into through the legs of the machine into the floor. Okay, and I'll show you that. So I'm going to start the lathe. I like taking smaller cuts regularly instead of heavy cuts. Any tool will only cut at the speed of which the wood comes down onto it and the depth of cut that the tool is exposed. After that, you're just going to be meeting force with force. Okay, so little cuts often, nice smooth action, moving my body backwards and forwards, or swinging my hips around, not moving my arm. I'm just going to start the lathe. Now before I start, I put my face mask on. Make sure it's locked down, and I'm going to present the edge here and just do a simple push-pull cut. Now I've got this rotating about 800 RPM. It's important that when we hollow at a safe speed for what we're doing, the wood, the machine and our ability. As I said, I like to take small cuts regularly, so I just turn the speed up a little bit and take a finer cut. And I just present the tool here and I just take a fine cut. Now I don't recommend hollowing with one hand, okay? But just for showing here of how efficient the tool is and how once it's set up properly, we let the tool do the work and we just move the tool backwards and forwards. So I'm just going to use a little finger on top here and I just move it in and out gently. Simple push-pull cut. Now if I remove my left hand, you can see it's all set up. And we're just peeling off those fibres. Okay. Now the more I drop the tool over, the finer the cut and the shorter the shavings will get. You see now I'm just getting tips off. It's a very fine cut and not aggressive at all because the cutting edge is trailing right down. The more horizontal I present the tool, the more aggressive the cut. Okay. Now we don't want to present this tool horizontal at any time. It's designed to trail slightly to give us that nice peeling cut. And you see how easy this is. Now I'm working inside out now on a peeling cut. So I'm always working downhill when I'm hollowing end grain. So I go in and I come out. In, I just run up the hill very gently. I don't try and cut into the end grain. I just run up the hill gently and I just rotate the tool over and I peel outwards. In. And just peel outwards. Now what I'm going to do is move the camera around and get right down on that cutting tip so you can see exactly what's going on. So the more I roll the tool over, the finer the slice and the finer the shaving. So this is what I'd use for a finishing cut. This is more just a material removal cut. Move the tool rest in and start peeling out from inside. And now I start peeling out this section. Right, what happened there is I created an undercut and come up against it, against the end grain fibres, so I just need to move out a bit and make sure I'm peeling, always cutting outwards. When I get a heavy step, I just move out and peel the fibres out. form's not important here. I'll be doing exactly the same if I was hollowing a hollow form. Just the difference would be you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So the pencil line you saw there was the wall thickness that I want. So I'm just going to move the camera around and start hollowing out the base.